I do feel like there's not another strongman or another 400-pound man on this planet who would last more than 3 minutes with me. I'm on it. Ronda Rousey. So a lot of people have been talking lately about, you know, how big do you have to be to really be the best fighter on the planet? Who's the toughest guy on the planet? Bradley Martin is going around telling everybody he's 260 pounds, so he could knock out pretty much anybody who's 255 pounds or lower. I think it's time we talk about it. Can a 400-pound professional strongman elite athlete fight a 265 or 240-pound UFC champion? You might be surprised. Let's talk about it. Well, it is true that there's no denying the weight difference is a huge factor when it comes into fighting and stuff. You wouldn't have weight classes if that wasn't true. So, yeah, being 400 pounds puts a certain advantage on you. Also, so my experience, I never wrestled or anything. I was a bouncer for a long time, which really means I'm good at fighting drunk people, which is kind of taking advantage. So it's not that much experience, but for the last about year, I've been training amateur style wrestling, not WWE, wrestling, and a little jiu-jitsu. It's been once a week, but mostly wrestling and mostly MMA, boxing style. And so in the last about year, I've got to work with a bunch of really big, really strong guys. The guy I train jiu-jitsu with is a 330-pound black belt out of Eagly. If you're in Idaho, Eagly jiu-jitsu is pretty badass. But I've had a chance to roll with big dudes. I've had a chance to mess around with little guys. I'm friends with people. For the last 10 years, I've fooled around and never been serious, but I've felt people's strength. I've worked with John Jones, Cowboy Cerrone, a bunch of other people. For sure, the weight helps. And there's a number, maybe I'm 400 pounds, a 75-pound UFC champion, I'm probably very confident with, right? If you find a man who's 75 pounds, right? But then who knows where this gauge shrinks? I don't truly know, but I've got a lot of experience around it, so like, I feel like I could confidently say heavyweight's above that gauge. John Jones, Francis Ngannou, Cain Velasquez, Brock Lesnar, those guys, they've trained their entire life, their whole life. They've been working on timing and range with the best in the world. There's no faking that or taking that from them. So let's say me and Francis Ngannou had a fight right now, okay? I'm 120 pounds, 140 pounds bigger than him. I'm way prettier than him. Obviously, I've got all the advantages, but this guy has been swinging, fighting, grappling, moving with top-tier dudes. It's not the same as me going and doing 1 day a week of jiu-jitsu or me doing very specific training with wrestling. It's not the same as Francis Ngannou and John Jones and their sparring partners moving and fighting in a way that just sharpens you more than anything else. The way that I sharpen myself in the gym, they've sharpened themselves on the mat. So yes, Bradley Martin and I have an advantage over smaller people. That doesn't really matter much when those guys are still, I mean, Francis Ngannou I think weighs 285 when he's not fighting. So he cuts to 265. And like I said, man, those guys, I believe they've got strong enough shoulders, arms, punches, good enough technique that like it's not it's not gonna keep your head from fogging over when they connect with your jaw just because they're only, 100 pounds less than you or whatever. They're still solid dudes that have perfected the art of fighting. So, in my mind, I think Francis Ngannou, John Jones, Tom Aspinall, those are the best fighters in the world, despite weight. That's what I think. That being said, I do think that there's a lot of strong men out there who really, really believe in themselves a little too much. If you have been paying attention, I don't even have to mention names, but fighting is its own sport. You're not gonna be a professional soccer player that just shows up and gets the dunk over LeBron. It's not gonna happen. But, I do want to say, since we're talking about it, I truly believe there's no other strongman or 400-pound dude, for that matter, who can hang. I think the only reason I've told you is that I've trained wrestling for almost a year now in MMA is because it's already been that time. I secretly did that without telling anybody. I busted my ass off. I worked really hard. Literally for the first 4 months, all I did was puke. Every single day, puke, puke, puke. Come in, 20 minutes in, I'm puking. 40 minutes in, the room's spinning and I'm puking again. It was torture. The guy's an amazing coach, really, really, really good coach, very serious dude. And I've been getting my ass handed to me for, almost a year now. I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want anyone else to know what I was doing to prepare and to be ready for that for themselves. If somebody ends up taking a fight with me, good luck. You got a lot to catch up with. I'm not stopping it, so I think it's time. I'm not worried about saying anything anymore. Yeah, I do feel like there's not another strong man or another 400-pound man on this planet who would last more than 3 minutes with me. You'll never see me box. You'll never see me slap fight. None of that. But if there's a strong man out there who wants to come out and see who can fight, I'd love that. It doesn't have to be serious or mean or anything. It can be, I don't really care, but I am the kind of dude who likes to test myself. The reason I started Strongman was to do that. The reason I do everything is to do that. So, if somebody wants to line up under the lights and measure ourselves, I'm definitely down for it. I would love to do that. We can do it with the lights off. We don't even have to let anybody know, okay? But, all that being said, I'm not doing this video to call anyone out or scare Eddie into, getting more fake abs or something. But, again, just to let you know, I'm sorry, Bradley Martin, but these guys would wreck you. They would. There's this. You can't tell the Diaz brothers that you would beat them up. That's the whole reason I made this video. You can't do that. I love you, Bradley, but the Diaz brothers would wreck you. I'm sorry. I love you. I gotta go work out. I'm getting pissed off. Somebody come fight me, because I'm ready to you up.